Alright, it's finally here. The third edition of the worst Spongebob episodes, and this time, it's 30. Because, is this gonna be, a change? Is the fourth edition gonna be 40? Well, no, this is like, there were just so many, bad episodes that I've, come across that 20 simply was not enough. So instead, 30. And I guess it also compensates, for, the first list only being 10, but whatever. Also, you gotta stick around for the end of, well, part 3, because this is gonna be a 3-part video. And, well, yeah, let's just say it has to do with the 4th edition list, a potential 4th edition list, which won't be for a while. So, with that being said, let's begin with the 3rd edition top 30 worst SpongeBob episodes. Oh, if only it was the Thing from the Fantastic Four. This thing is like the Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing. It's just, oh boy. When I first got requests for this, I was like, I'm not surprised, but I mean, it's mediocre, to say the least. So, how does it begin? Well, Squidward's trying to do stuff. SpongeBob and Patrick are bothering him. So, Squidward, gets away, rides on his bike. It's like, this is worse than being hit by a truck full of cement. And guess what? Yeah, he gets hit by a truck full of cement. Cement's poured all over him. It's poured in his mouth. And then, he falls into something that smells like shit. And then gets stung by jellyfish. I'm laughing because it's just so bad. The cement hardens. And then he's stuck. And then he blows a bubble. Which is him screaming. And now he's been waddling around in cement, for God knows how long, and then he's in jellyfish fields and gets found by SpongeBob and Patrick, who somehow don't recognize that big nose. Really, SpongeBob, how'd you not recognize that Squidward with that big nose? I mean, you only fondle with it all the time like it's his penis. Seriously. So they call him Smelly because he smells like shit. And, they try to take him home and, goes to Patrick's house. And Squidward doesn't like it and he tries to attack Patrick. And, well, Patrick calls animal control because he's a dumbass. And animal control comes and they put him in the zoo. SpongeBob and Patrick break him out. They go under the sewer and, you know what? Guess what? Apparently there's an entire civilization that look like smelly Squidward. Squidward covered in cement, except they're furry things. Like, they look like you. I mean, they even have the big noses. And they're, well, apparently, okay, at the beginning, Squidward was trying to watch this show, Smooth Jazz, and apparently the Smooth Jazz guy does the music to these things. And then while Squidward's dancing to it, apparently he, well, loosens up the cement and he breaks out. Somehow not skeletal. And also raises a question. He was wiggling around to move. How did he not get out of the cement then? Yeah, it's just weak. Moving on. This episode is an accident. So, what happens? Okay, Squidward working at the Krusty Krab, then he, well, sneaks to the back and lays on the rack where the buns are, the chain snaps and he falls. And then, Mr. Krabs is like, what the fuck, Squidward? And Squidward's like, you'll have to pay me workers' compensation. I'll keep it low with, the inspector guy. And then, well, if Squidward calls the inspector guy, Mr. Krabs will have to pay a fine because, Mr. Krabs is so attached to his fucking money, that greedy motherfucker. he doesn't want to pay the fine, so he does stupid favors that Squidward tells him to do, and including popping his back barnacles, which is, instead of acne, it's barnacles, even though we've seen sea creatures have acne. I mean, barnacles and ew. It's already disgusting when you have to pop a Z off your face. I mean, and SpongeBob and Patrick, like dumbasses, investigate over the top and unfunny. I mean, really, it's new SpongeBob. What the hell are you expecting at this point? And then, well, apparently, Mr. Krabs... Oh, no, not Mr. Krabs. Squidward did end up calling the inspector. And Mr. Krabs is pissed off. They examine. Squidward tells him a, well, lie. He said, this bun had not enough seeds, so I went to go get a bun. I reached up, and then all of a sudden the chain snapped and hit me. Ah! And then all of a sudden it's a cop-out! Mr. Krabs stole a security camera from an airport, and it's revealed that Squidward laid on it like a bed, and, well, that's how the chain snapped. Although, with the chain snapping, it wasn't even rusty. I mean, the animator should have put some rust on there, because it would be more believable, I think. So then Mr. Krabs is pissed off, and Squidward ends up doing favors for Mr. Krabs, which is popping his back barnacles, and that's it. I mean, the episode, it's just boring. It's boring. That's all I can say about this episode. It's boring, and, well, it's not funny. There's nothing happening. It was just a throwaway episode, I guess. Oh my god. Okay. So, what happens in this episode? Well, the part of the Krusty Krab is starting to fall apart. There's starting to be a hole in there. And, you know, Mr. Krabs, being a cheap asshole, won't fix it. He'll use bubble gum, cheap, shitty glue, and he can't patch up the hole. He doesn't, you know, he won't give up his money. Really, that's gotta stop. And then Larry the Lobster is driving around and, you know, notices there's a hole and he thinks there's a drive-thru. Now, isn't this the second time that the Krusty Krab has had a drive-thru, although this is an accident this time? I mean, when Patrick got his license, there was all of a sudden a drive-thru. Whatever happened to that? Now, that's something else. So yeah, so Mr. Krabs decides to put in a drive-thru, and it's really popular, to the point where they cannot keep up with order. So they start smashing holes in the walls, and well, they eventually, you know, it ends up destroying the Krusty Krab. And that's about it. Just, again, it's a non-event. Just boring. A drive-thru. Now, the Krusty Krab having a drive-thru would be interesting. They could have had it where they put a drive-thru and they hired someone else, and stuff pursues. But no, they decided to go the boring route. Guess what? This episode is a curse itself. So Spongebob and Patrick want to go fuck around, and they call Squidward Old Man Squidward. It's not funny. Really, you couldn't have had the Old Man Jenkins. Let's go to Old Man Squidward's house. They go in his shed, and they try to drive a lawnmower. Unfunny. They disguise themselves as tools. When Squidward goes in, it's Old Man Squidward. Still not funny. And, well, Squidward tells them that they should mow their lawn. They should mow his lawn, and, well, you know what happens. The lawnmower goes out of control, and then the Flying Dutchman comes up from the ground, trying to get some fresh air, and, well, SpongeBob and Patrick accidentally shave off his beard. And because of that, the Dutchman gets pissed off because he was going to go on a date, and, well, he then curses SpongeBob and Patrick, and they become ghosts. And yeah, they're like, this won't be bad. And and that sucks. They can't eat, they can't sleep without sinking into the ground. SpongeBob can't even work, and everything they leave behind is green slime, which is disgusting. So yeah, then they go to the Dutchman. They say that they want their bodies back, but the Dutchman won't give them their bodies back until his beard grows back, which won't be for thousands of years. So SpongeBob rectifies it by becoming his beard. And then in the next scene, like, it was like a few days or a few weeks, months, I don't know, the Dutchman suddenly has his beard back. It's not thousands of years, so this doesn't make any sense. And he says he's having trouble with his girlfriend, and it's this hideous thing. This Curse of Bikini Bottom, and it's just SpongeBob and Patrick fucking around as ghosts. What kind of episode is that? Oh boy. Okay, how's it go? SpongeBob and Patrick find a clam choking on something, and it's a pearl! However, they don't identify that it's a pearl. They think it's a volleyball. You guys have seen this before. The smoking peanut. Anybody remember that? You guys know what a pearl is. And the clams have pearls that they keep in here. Ugh. So yeah, then they go to the beach. SpongeBob's in his underwear, which is very disturbing. Public, and some stoner sees the pearl and he's like, he pays SpongeBob a bunch of money, and SpongeBob, he acts so kind to other people that he starts paying for other people's things, which, if you have a lot of money, don't donate some, keep some for yourself, spend it on what you want, don't give money to other people. And it becomes to the point, that, well, SpongeBob upgrades his pineapple, and he looks like a stooty douchebag. That even Patrick isn't even allowed in his house. And, well, SpongeBob eventually runs out of money, and then Patrick finds another pearl that he thinks is a volleyball. Boring. Moving on. Welcome to Hell should have been the title of this episode. Now, in this episode, this was like part of Legends of Bikini Bottom. You know that ratings trap? They even had Pest of the West in it, and the Main Drain, Trench Billies. I'm not going to go on. So, what happens? Well, apparently, things are mysteriously disappearing from Bikini Bottom. Patrick's cufflinks. That's stupid, I know. And there's a bunch of other things, and, this weird guy who wears a raincoat, tells him about the Bikini Bottom Triangle and how things disappear and go to the Bikini Bottom Triangle. SpongeBob's like, that's bullshit, and then SpongeBob and Squidward, are out and about, and apparently the thing is, if you hear mermaids singing, you're gonna disappear. And they hear mermaids singing, they disappear and end up at the Bikini Bottom Triangle with a bunch of shit, and apparently the thing that sucks it up is a giant magical vacuum! Yay! And then Patrick eventually gets sucked in, Pearl and Mr. Krabs. And then SpongeBob tries to move and he's out, and Mr. Krabs refills his Krabby Patty tank. And, they have to go and find the mermaids, and they're like, bitches, we're barred. Let's get some more stuff. Oh, yay! And it's like, really? You made the mermaids stereotypical teenagers? It's not really funny, to be honest. And, well, just like Mindy from the movie, Patrick gets a boner from him. And SpongeBob asks if there's a way out, and no, there isn't. And, he tells them, and Pearl convinces them that they should go to a mall, and that all the shit gets sent back. And that's it. And Mr. Krabs, and there's also subplot, Mr. Krabs is worried about the Krusty Krab and that Plankton will be stealing stuff, and well, the guy in the raincoat was guarding it and making Krabby Patties, and even caught Plankton. Boring. It's boring. If I'm just being repetitive, I'm sorry, but these episodes are. Now, I've already reviewed Don't Look Now and See and Schmiance from my Halloween special from 2013, so just check that out, but I'll just say it's cliche, it's boring, stupid, both of them, and there's nothing special about them, okay? If you want more in-depth review, there's a link down below, and there's also a bunch of links that you should watch. At least watch before this video even started. Weird that I'm saying in the middle of the video, but, you know, whatever. We all know how greedy Mr. Krabs is nowadays. This episode rubs it in your face until you're suffocating. In this episode, Gary apparently, his shell can magnetically, get, like, coins and metal, well, it doesn't get other metal objects, it gets coins, and of course, Mr. Krabs is jizzing his pants over this, and, he uses Gary to get coins from other people, although it only attracts coins, he doesn't get, like, pins or anything, or even other metal objects, which, is weird, and then it gets to the point where the police are suspicious of him, and Mr. Krabs at one point goes to an arcade disguised as a pregnant woman, and he gets a shitload of coins. SpongeBob finds out, he's pissed off, and then all of a sudden, in the magnets, Gary's magnetic shell, I spoiled it, gets a bunch of coins, like a wave, like a water wave of coins, and Mr. Krabs is like, "Come to Daddy!" and he gets crushed from all that metal, and all the coins he collected was enough to pay his hospital bill. Yeah, that's great. That's great. His thievery paid off. No pun intended. And apparently the thing that was making Gary's shell magnetic was a fridge magnet in his shell. It's very powerful. If you own fridge magnets, they're not powerful. I know it's a cartoon, but come on, a fridge magnet? You couldn't have had a bigger magnet? Now that would still be stupid, but it'd make more sense than a fridge magnet. Just, oh my god. What were they thinking? This episode is about as regular as every other episode that comes out nowadays. Shitty. So, what happens? This guy named Nat always comes into the chum bucket and eats Plankton's shit, and Plankton's surprised. He's got a regular! And he's like, I'm gonna take Krabs down! Although with one guy. Yeah, one customer is, you're not gonna take down Krabs with one customer unless, Krabs ends up with no customers, and, well, yeah. And then Mr. Krabs, greedy asshole, sees that, Plankton has a regular and SpongeBob uses SpongeBob to try to get, Nat to eat at the Krusty Krab, and Nat won't budge, so Mr. Krabs decides to make his own chum and feed it to Nat, but Nat thinks that's shit, and, well, Mr. Krabs gets an idea. Let's steal Plankton's formula. Okay, as much as I would like to see that, just how they set it up was just terrible. So Mr. Krabs goes in all black, he gets caught by Plankton, gets trapped under a spoon, and same with SpongeBob, who monologues so much that the Beast Wars guys are like saying your speech is going on for way too long. And, well, turns out Nat comes with a shitload of money, And it turns out that Karen was paying Nat to eat Plankton shit. And, well, Nat's almost dead too. And he's like, I've eaten 10 of these, and I've had to go to the doctor twice, and I need to get my stomach pumped again. That's not funny, that's disgusting! Getting your stomach pumped? What the fuck? So yeah, this episode really leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and again, another example of, the writers taking Mr. Krabs' greed and rubbing it in your face until you are suffocating. Oh my god. Stay tuned for part 2, as we're gonna get into more shit. See you guys.